I hate bards. Well, okay, hate is a strong word. Particularly what I hate is the type of bard who only tries to bang every single monster they see. That being said, in my nearly 2,000 hours in Baldur's Gate 3, I have not once played as a bard. But today, I'm gonna get brave and I will break my streak of bard celibacy in the most painful way I know how, by completing Baldur's Gate 3 on the toughest available difficulty, Honor Mode. In Honor Mode, not only are enemies more powerful than normal, gaining access to unique abilities they may not otherwise have, but also, if your entire party dies at any point, then it is game over. You failed Honor Mode, your save is dead, and you have to restart. I have only ever beaten Honor Mode once before, and you can watch that video if you'd like to see how my first time went, but let me just sum it up by saying, I am not very good at this game. And to make sure it's not too easy, I've got two simple rules. I have to reach level 12 before finishing the playthrough, so I don't go through things too fast, and I cannot leave a party member in camp as security. It's kind of lame. But before we do anything, I'm gonna play the same little game I played in the first Honor Mode video. Head down to the comments and let me know how many tries you think this is gonna take. No cheating, just comment your answer now, and then come back and reply to it after finishing the video and see how close you were. And while you're down there, you should like and subscribe. Please, this ratio, it keeps me up at night. Alright, enough stalling, let's get this bardy started. As a history nerd and a guy who plays video games way too much, I am excited to tell you all about today's sponsor, Heroes of History. In Heroes of History, your mission is simple. You are in charge of an ancient tribal group of humans and you want to help them develop structures, develop weapons, develop technology, anything and everything to lead these people into the modern age. My favorite part though is that along the way you encounter and are guided by both real and mythical historical figures. Like I said before, as a guy who thinks history is really cool, being guided to battle in the wilds with the Leonidas is exactly my style. And they keep things exciting with special events. From March 11th to April 28th, there will be an in-game event centered around ancient Egypt. You'll also be able to unlock new event-limited heroes such as Nefertiti and King Tut, so make sure to use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen and make sure you use promo code DumpyKong to give yourself a head start with the Anubis Awakening Starter Pack. The event looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's even more heroes that I didn't get to mention here, so you should absolutely go check it out. It's free, it's easy, and you know where to find the link. Thank you to Heroes of History for supporting the channel. Now back to the video. Like any other playthrough, the first challenge is to create your character. Our character, for now at least, is Dumpard. I picked this face because he kind of just looks like he's permanently mewing, and that just felt right. But with Dumpard all set up, we are off to hell. Wait, do bards not start with any sort of melee weapon? Holy shit, I really am in hell. Well, thankfully my boy Dumpard seems to be a lucky individual because my very first roll of the entire playthrough was a nat 20. Although my next roll wasn't quite enough to set the little brain guy free, so maybe not that lucky. As my meeting with Lae'zel plays out, I just kind of want to clarify something. I will be playing as a bard, but the rest of my party doesn't have to be bards. I still want to beat Honor Mode after all, but my main character being a bard should be enough to get the full experience. And that experience is starting off a little rocky, because I used Vicious Mockery on this boar and my game crashed. Dope. Well, after returning, I made it safely through the helm, crash landed the ship, woke up Shart, and then got to see some bard-specific dialogue for the first time. I have never seen any of these before, and honestly, it's probably the thing I'm most excited about for this whole playthrough. Oh, and I also found this hat. I mean, come on. It's like the quintessential bard hat. This run really feels like it might be something magical. Back to the action though, I used a Nautiloid tank to blow up a couple brain boys, and that brought me to level 2. At level 2, bards get the passive called Jack of All Trades, which allows you to add half of your proficiency bonus, rounded down, to ability checks that you are not proficient in. That seems really helpful. Also, am I just a fucking idiot? Has everybody been using ritual spells and just never told me? I feel silly for saying this, but I don't know if I've really ever regularly used spells like Long Strider and getting a boost to your movement speed, like, always, and it doesn't cost a spell slot or need concentration. I don't know, that's crazy. 2,000 hours, man. I really gotta start reading things, huh? Well, back to business. I picked up Astarion next, sniped the injured Mind Flayer for some easy XP, managed to peacefully grab Lae'zel, and then hit my third nat 20 when trying to scare off these adventurers outside of the ruins. Do bards just get more nat 20s or something? I feel like this is a lot, like, very quickly. Well, for some reason, I got a little risky and I made my way inside the ruins and somehow managed to successfully pick off all the troublemakers, the living ones and the dead ones. I met Withers, I met Gale, and then I met the folks at the Emerald Grove. The fight there actually went surprisingly well, and when we eventually made it inside, I got a really funny dialogue option, although telling them that they are both heroes didn't really seem to help. Then, after taking out the Bugbear Assassin, it was time for me to make a big decision. What is gonna be my bard subclass? Well, like I said, I know absolutely nothing about bards, never played it, and so my choice was kind of just based off of what sounded funny, I guess, which led me to choose the College of Glamour. We'll see if I stick to that. I took my first long rest shortly thereafter, and in the morning, I got to work. Now, Act 1 is pretty long, and I've made a lot of these videos, so what I'll do just for a little bit is try and fly through some things. I hit my fourth nat 20, I convinced Roland to stay, I sent Will to camp, Lae'zel being mean got me half chubbed, I had fun playing along with Volo's silliness, I had more fun literally playing along with Alfira, I had a surprisingly difficult battle with the goblin bastards beneath the grove, I met Scratch, I hit another nat 20, it's getting kinda suspicious at this point, I scared off the goblins, Shadowheart being mean got me full chubbed.
Take you as I find you.
Why do I like when she's mean to me? What is that? I respect Lae'zel to be a paladin instead of a fighter. I had a unique encounter with the lovebirds inside the barn. I used a little barrelmancy to get the jump on the paladins of Tyr. I met Karlach and sent her to camp. I got Flind to be my friend and to kill her friends. I hit my 7th nat 20. What the fuck? Will and Karlach. Okay, wait. Let me just slow down here for a second. I have this inside joke just with myself, which I guess is kind of sad maybe, but every single time this scene plays out where Will and Karlach have this little tiff, I write something silly in my notes. So I think the first time I ever did it, I wrote like, Will and Karlach are flirting, and then it evolved into Will and Karlach are making out. And eventually, after getting more and more graphic over just making many of these videos, this time I wrote Will and Karlach are graphically busting down animal style in front of everyone. Just thought we could take a break from the list slop. Back to work, I started the next day by almost losing the entire run. I think I just had gotten a little reckless during this encounter with these gnolls because I had been having such good luck, but ending the battle with literally only one person still on their feet was a sobering experience. Probably a necessary one. I took a nap after that, and the next day started off much better when I got to see a funny little bard moment. Even funnier though was that I still had to kick the fucking door down, so I don't know what the point of that was. I also just, like, was trolling Benrin, like pretending I couldn't lift the rubble on top of him, and I have no idea what the point of that would be because nobody else can see us, but it's very funny that it's happening. Then after heading down, okay wait, I did save Benrin, I should probably say that. Then after heading down and checking on the Zentarim, I got just enough XP to hit level 4, bumping my constitution from 13 to 14 and my charisma from 17 to 18. The next bit of excitement came when I got brave and faced off with the Harpies. I started the encounter by out-singing them, which was really funny, but the battle with them actually went really well then, and I got to drop this hard-ass line after on the poor tiefling child. I'm Dumpard, slayer of monster, teller of tales, savior of you. It's very, very Goku-esque.
You... What are you?
I am the hope of the universe. I am the answer to all living things that cry out for peace. I am protector of the innocent. I am the light in the darkness. I am truth. Allied to good, nightmare to you.
Although my night was ruined when instead of getting to have fun time with Shadowheart, I instead got a visit from the Tickle Monster. I did genuinely think for just a second about killing Astarion here for messing up my Shadowhuz time, but I forgave him. And it all worked out because I eventually got my smooch on with her later. Skipping ahead a bit, I eventually made it to the Goblin camp. I started things off by definitely giving this goblin some nasty pink eye, and then once inside the camp itself, I got a little crazy again. I guess the whole sobering experience thing didn't really last all that long, but I tried to be smart and call for backup from the ogres, but they just never showed up. But I managed to get by without them. And how on earth did killing some goblins break Lae'zel's oath? Well, I'm not spending 1,000 gold to get that shit back, so I guess she's an oath breaker now. Oh, and of course, here's my tiefling baddie guardian. Yeah, if you've watched my other Baldur's Gate 3 videos, then you shouldn't be surprised by now. My assault on the goblin camp continued inside the temple where I killed Minthari, and then had something happen for the first time ever. Halsin died. Not only have I never had that happen, but I have no way of fixing it. You can't revive him, and that means I'm also locked out of fixing the shadow-cursed lands. Hey man, I guess that's just the way honor mode goes sometimes. It's alright. Lae'zel cheered me up later that night. I guess I'm kind of doing the thing I complained about at the start, where I'm being a whore, but, you know. Let's wrap up Act 1 by going through another speed round, because myself, and I'm sure many of you, have been through this part of the game more times than literally anybody could count. Volo took my eyeball, but replaced it with a better one. I dealt with the annoying-ass swamp jerks, including the Redcaps and Gandrel, who didn't really do anything wrong. I blew Ethel the fuck up. I hit 2 nat 20s in a row. I think bards just have some sort of secret buff that gives them more nat 20s or something, but it's kind of crazy. I genuinely may have had a small heart attack when I almost completely fucked my run against the Zentarim. Seriously, I wrote in my notes, my chest hurts and I taste copper, but hey, I hit level 5 from the whole thing, so I guess it was worth the pain. I swapped Shart from the Trickery domain to the Tempest domain. I managed to peacefully deal with the Githstanky. I had a shockingly easy time against the Spider Queen. I got my balls drained once again, and after all that, it was time for the Underdark. I know the Underdark and the Mountain Pass are still considered to be Act 1, but I feel like it's more of Act 1.5. My journey in the Underdark began by making use of a weapon I don't often pay much mind, Falar Aluve. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not very good at reading. It's a very bard-coded weapon. It didn't help me much against the Bulette, though. Thank fuck that thing is like a 2-phase fight. If that thing had stuck around, I probably would have gotten wiped right here. That encouraged me to be a little more tactical, so after that, I used Glut's revive ability to wake up a Minotaur, and I brought that bad boy down to the beach where I slaughtered the Dwergar. And then I had the Minotaur take his own second life, so that when Glut got mad at me for not wanting to kill the Myconid leader, he would be on his own. R.I.P. Glut. After handling that, I took a long rest where I shared a little romantic moment with Gale. Like I said, kind of being hypocritical, but in the morning, I faced a tough realization. The run was going well, but I wasn't really having much fun. I decided that to give Bard a fair shot, I needed to try another subclass, just in case that was my issue. I respec into the College of Swords, and that was an amazing idea. The College of Swords subclass may genuinely be one of the best subclasses in the game, and more importantly, one of the most fun. I tested this new subclass out on the Grimforge, and it was awesome. I get to do more stuff in combat than I was before, and I still get to keep the advantages of being a bard outside of combat. And I know I'm sort of jumping through things quickly, but I would like to note that I was trying to do everything possible. I've learned that the best way to beat honor mode is simply by doing all of the side content along with the main stuff, because that helps you build XP and get equipment that you might normally miss out on. And when I had built enough XP to hit level 6, I was floored by what I saw. Extra attack? Are you fucking kidding me? You're telling me I get all these cool combat options, spells, and the easiest time out of combat of any class for sure, and I get extra attack? This is it. This is the best class in the game. I don't care what people say. Man, man, do bards get so much love. Although something I didn't love was Halsin's outfit. Well, I don't think I have the muscles necessary to pull that look off. As I wrote in my notes, I had to switch outfits. I was downright defiling that shit. And yeah, I was. At level 6, I took out the Spectator. I made friends with Bernard. I grabbed the Hill Giant Club so Astarion could get a nice bonus from the Titan String Bow. It's really annoying that it doesn't give you Hill Giant strength, but whatever. And then I made my way into the other half of Act 1.5, the Mountain Pass. Esther obviously had to go. That is non-negotiable for me, but so did the Kobolds, the Grimishka, the Eagles, and then eventually the Githyanki. It's kind of funny that Lae'zel doesn't really seem to give a shit that you're just slaughtering her people, but I mean, she does say that killing is good, so I guess it makes sense. We're culling the weak. And yeah, I know Barrelmancy is sort of frowned upon, but Wargaz is a dickhead, and I think he deserved it. I finished off Act 1.5 by clearing out the Death Shepherds and then hanging out with Gandminster. Gandalf Minster. There we go. At this point, we had come pretty far for my first attempt. I mean, making it all the way through Act 1 of Honor Mode with a class I knew nothing about, I was proud of that. And even more importantly, I was determined to finish this playthrough out. In fact, I got a cold at this point in the playthrough, and so I took a few days off from playing the game just to make sure I was only playing at my full mental capacity. That is how serious I was taking this shit. Once I felt better though, I dove straight into Act 2. The Grimforge path is my preferred way to go, and so that's the way I took. I ran into the Harpers, and honestly, I kinda got slapped up by the Shadows. They did like a concerning amount of damage. I survived, but then I made a beeline straight for Last Light so that I could get a quick fix for the Shadow Curse. What I forgot about though was Marcus. He crashed our party, and I realized that I definitely should have like prepared for him. Speaking of insane, I was very afraid to face Kar'niss that next day, but laying out a few barrels made my life easier. They didn't hurt Kar'niss at all, but they did clear out some of his friends. And to be honest, I kinda just posted up on the roof and sacrificed the Harpers while I poked at him. It was cowardly, potentially even cringe, but it worked. Back to using my bard powers of mental manipulation, I cleared out the Thorms very easily. Seriously, dude, like I said, if you want to get through Honor Mode and you're having a hard time, try to think less about combat and more about how to avoid combat. Garangoth, Thisibald, and Manus could all easily destroy an unprepared party, but if I just talk them all to death, which I did, then you don't even ever have to fight them. The only Thorm left now is Ketheric, so I headed to Moonrise Towers and spent a bit more time here than I normally would, again just making sure I didn't miss any scraps of XP. By doing pretty much everything Moonrise had to offer, I reached level 8, and I gave everyone the tough feat. Gotta make sure we got some survivability, of course. I spent the next few in-game days just killing pretty much everything I could. I got surprised by these Blight guys because I forgot they existed, and then it happened to me again. 2,000 hours really has done nothing for me, huh? The Shambling Mound kicked my ass. I took out the Mean Locks, and then I got Karlach fixed up, and I don't care who I'm romancing on any given playthrough, I will always hug Karlach.
Okay, I don't know how I messed up the recording for this script so bad that I missed several paragraphs, but I did it again, so just bear with me for a minute or two while I make sense of that. Eventually, in my quest to collect a butt ton of XP, I ended up killing everyone in Moonrise. I was just trying to pick off the stragglers, but shit, I guess now is as good a time as any to get them out of here, and I'm glad I did because that brought me to level 9. I know it seems like that was really fast, but I promise there was a lot of stuff in between. But with that done, I guess I can head into the Gauntlet of Shar. We've all been through the Gauntlet before, I don't need to harp on it for long, but there's a few things I would like to note. First of all, getting Yrgir to take himself out was really easy as a bard. Like I said with the Thorms, just using your voice in this game could be an incredibly powerful weapon, but it doesn't always get you out of fights, and that was the case against Balthazar. Balthazar scared the shit out of me. I really thought he might wipe us out, he got pretty damn close, but a lucky shot from myself took care of him. I wrapped up almost the entire rest of the Gauntlet after that, but then for some reason I took a detour back to the Grimforge to kill its namesake. And look at what this cheating fuck-ass robot did. I used Astarion as bait to get Grim into the center, and then he just fucking disappeared when I hit the switch. Larian, for the love of all that is holy, fix your game, please. If I had somehow lost the run here after that, which I didn't, Grim got destroyed, then I think I would have genuinely just imploded. And speaking of Larian and their stupid game, I have learned my lesson in the Gauntlet of Shar. Do not ever trust this platform. I could trust Shart though, and she made the right decision, sparing Aelin, and we set her free, and then literally just walked our way through Moonrise for the first time ever. But then upstairs, I would plant a seed that would pay off in just a little bit, just a hint of doubt in Ketheric's mind. Alright, that was all the parts that I messed up. I can go back to not sounding like poop now. In fact, you can basically have him give up right here, but Aelin comes in and messes everything up, so we were forced to fight. Our fight with Ketheric here was actually surprisingly ugly, but again, with the seed of doubt in his mind, our second round with him should go a little smoother at least. Once we finished off Ketheric's undead cronies, we chased after him. You know what I thought about while watching this little clip? It probably fucking stinks in there. Like, crazy stink. Anywho, I did pretty much everything physically possible here because I was so close to level 10, but at the end of it, I was still just a tiny bit off, and so I made a sacrifice. Sorry Zevlor, but being level 10 going into this fight is more valuable than your entire life. I guess that's not true, but you know, it's what happened. But hey, level 10! Have you ever been level 10 into going into this? Because I sure as hell don't think I have. Turns out I really was right about doing all that side content. And I was right to plant my seed in Ketheric, because by using the Bard's most powerful weapon, words, I skipped the entirety of his first phase. And then we rolled really well on initiative, and in just about 7 or so minutes, I beat the ever-loving shit out of Merkel. In that first honor mode video, spoiler alert, seriously, this is probably the climax of that video, so if you don't want it spoiled, ignore what I'm about to say. But my fight with Ketherkel took like an hour, I think. But this time as a bard, I just flew through it. Incredibly anticlimactic, I know, but holy shit, man, I am blown away by how good being a bard is. Even hit a little Fortnite emote on his body. And then before we even went to sleep after that, I took out the Githyanki ambush waiting for us on the way to Baldur's Gate. And yeah, big shocker, we fucking pwned them. When's the last time you heard someone say pwned? But yeah, man, that's Act 2. I can't believe it was that easy. I think half of it is Bard is a super solid all-around class, and the other half is just doing everything I can to get XP. I know I keep saying that, but seriously, if you're struggling with honor mode, I strongly recommend just slowing things down a little bit and doing all the little stuff. Here we are in Act 3 though, and as we all probably know by now, it starts off hot and heavy. We run inside the Astral Prism to help our Guardian, and oh my goodness, our Guardian is a Mind Flayer. Well, I will be a monkey's fucking uncle. I helped him out for now, because I had to, but I'm not gonna let my autism stop me from betraying him later. Yes, I hate when he gets mad at me, but yes, Lae'zel's people deserve freedom more than I deserve comfort. Now look, I don't like to judge people too much, especially not based on looks, but I cannot handle being this ugly, so I turned on the normal half-a-lithid mod so that I could look at myself again without feeling sick. But our real Act 3 journey begins in Rivington as per usual, and like the other acts prior, I am not gonna cover everything because it would just take an insane amount of time, but I am gonna go over the big stuff and the most important stuff. The first thing that I need to tell you is that if you hate Ferg's punk ass like I do, then just rob him. Killing him might get you sent to jail, but robbing him is a much easier crime to talk your way out of. Also, fuck Fist Rowan, fuck Orin, fuck them. If you don't quite understand my rage towards those assholes, go watch this video where we did a little Baldur's Gate 3 trivia, and no spoilers, but fuck Orin, man. We took care of things at the circus. I cut Wolbrin's fucking head off and stole his explosives. I sold my soul to Raphael. Mizora crashed my game. And eventually we made it to Baldur's Gate itself. I've said this before in a couple videos, and I'll say it again. I'd really love if there was like a cutscene that shows you walking into the city. It's just so awkward. You walk through the thing and then you just kind of appear there. Inside the city, the work was so very far from done. But again, let's stick to the important things. We scared off the Githyanki under the elf song. Gale got kidnapped by Orin. I hit level 11 just by walking into the Devil's Fee. Lae'zel told Vlaakith to
stick it. I was a little let down to see that it doesn't seem like what instrument you play really matters. The Oathbreaker helped me roll over Eridan's bitch-ass friends. Saravok absolutely demolished Astarion, but the rest of us cleaned things up. I resisted the urge to get inside of Mizora. Bard or not, I've got my principles. I beat the mess out of Leroarcan. I killed Ethel. Fuck that kid inside of her. I don't care about her. I fended off Astarion's siblings, and then once I handled business at the counting house, I hit level 12. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the max level, and pretty much opens the floodgates for me to be able to finish the game. There's still a few things I'd like to do though, starting with handling Shadowheart's old pals. This fight is incredibly dangerous, but so am I, and with plenty of AoE attacks and spells, AoE spells are my favorite, I actually kinda creamed them. But they got the last laugh because usually I just kill Viconia and take her key, but I thought it'd be interesting to see what happens when I let her go. All that really happened was I had to find a way past this door, and so I thought putting my money on this plate would give it enough weight to open the door, which it did, but it took all of the money. Like, it all disappeared. 9,000 gold. I lost 9,000 gold because I spared Viconia's life. And because I'm dumb, but I'm gonna just blame her. Shadowheart freed her parents from their suffering, and then I decided to make a big decision for Astarion. I left him at home while I took Karlach in his stead to deal with Cazador. And yeah, man, I think I'm just a lot better at this game than I used to be, or maybe just a little smarter because we kind of bodied him too. Really then, the only two things I'm worried about now is taking down Orin and facing off with the Netherbrain. But don't worry, because I've got a plan. Well, for the first thing, I'm kind of just gonna wing the Netherbrain thing, but we'll get there. For Orin, the plan was simple on my Ludwig shit. I easily talked her out of hurting Gale, and then once combat started, I had Astarion drink a potion of speed. He ran over to Gale, casted the Globe of Invulnerability spell with a scroll I had been saving, which covered himself and Gale, and then I had to stall for a second. Unfortunately, I hadn't planned on Orin jumping inside of the globe as well, but the plan remained. I had to clear the Chanters out somehow, so I gathered them together with a black hole, and then on Lae'zel's turn, I had her drop and detonate 2 barrels of rune powder. Honestly, it was less effective than I thought it would be, only taking out 3 of the 6 cultists, but it was a start. On Astarion's next turn, he cleared out 2 more of the ballists, and then my heart sank to my knees when the last one stunned Astarion, dropping the Globe of Invulnerability. Lae'zel got Shart healed back up, and then I had them both go invisible just to avoid trouble for a second. Orin beat the piss out of me, but I had enough health to throw some more healing potions on my turn, and we were back in business. I managed to hold the last cultist in place for a second, succeed on an insane series of saving throws until my next turn, where I had already lost concentration, so I casted Hold Monster on Orin and her pal once again, and this time I got them both. I laid into Orin as hard as I could, and Lae'zel almost finished her off single-handedly, but Shart was the one to close things out with a guiding bolt, and my biggest fear for this run had been conquered. And I was planning to work with Gortash, so I didn't really have to worry about him. But then, I just had to go and get cocky. I got Answer to do his big attack, and the first time I managed to successfully hide from it. But the second time, I had been way too confident and didn't think hiding from the attack was even necessary because I thought I was going to finish him off before he could even let it rip. But I was so wrong. That, folks at home, is a collective 28 health between all 4 of my max level party members. Thankfully, a fireball from myself put an end to the terrifying ordeal, but I swear to God, dude, I was tasting copper and everything was blurry. I think, I'm starting to think I might have a heart condition. But yeah, I mean, maybe I should just go finish this run off before I completely shit the bed and find a way to throw it all away, huh? I talked to Gortash, he tried to punk me, but I held my ground and we decided to meet at the Morphic Pool. I walked politely past the Cranium Rats. We took a little boat ride to the Morphic Pool, and then I dropped an invisibility potion like I was a little kid pouring milk. I have never seen that happen before. Then, eventually, we were confronted by the Netherbrain. I stuck to my guns once I was inside of the Astral Prism, and I freed Orpheus, which turned the Emperor against us. I was not turning myself into a Mind Flayer. Dumpard is too beautiful to throw all that away, so Orpheus had to take one for the team. Then into the Upper City as this little cutscene played out, I wrote a bunch about how I wondered what age the red dragons we were watching were. That sounds kind of weird with no D&D context, but there's a few categories of dragons that are broken down by age, and so I was just wondering where these ones fit in. I mean, they're clearly not wormlings, and they're not big enough or I think strong enough to be ancient dragons. They're probably adult red dragons if I had to guess, but they could be young red dragons too. You guys don't give a shit. Let's just go kill that brain. Now, maybe I'm a pussy for not taking on this veritable army that is waiting for me outside the nether brain, but like, if I can't get XP out of it, then what's really the point? Nope. Instead, I ran all the way to the tippy top of this place, climbed up the nether brain stem, and oh hey, the Emperor. I had already completely forgotten about him. The final battle started off really nicely for me because we rolled incredibly well on initiative. Unless this is hard-coded to happen, I feel like my whole party usually goes first here, but I'm gonna need one of you nerds at home to let me know. But on this first turn, I used most of my actions to get some friends involved. Though on Orpheus's turn, he hit a huge mind blast. Unfortunately, they had a few mind blasts of their own, kinda putting a damper on my excitement. A few turns went by and progress was slow, and after some time, the portal to the brain was open. I rained hell on the nether brain, basically just using all the strongest tools at my disposal, and though I myself couldn't believe it, I had defeated the brain without too much trouble, and honor mode had been conquered. My very first playthrough as a bard ever, and it was honestly the easiest run I had ever experienced. With that being said, I have got some closing thoughts that I wrote out right as the final scene was playing, so that they'd be totally fresh in my mind, and I will read them out now as they're written. Everything I wrote. Bard is an incredibly solid and well-rounded class. They are oddly good at everything. Jack of all trades is damn right. If you at home have not tried it, then you need to rectify that now. Rectify is a funny word, like rectum. Rectum like I wrecked them. Bars. Wow, I guess I really am a bard. Anyways, Bard is sick. It was really fun and probably really good for beginners. You can talk your way into anywhere or out of anything. It also had the most fun, unique dialogues, like when I was Goku that one time. I absolutely would play as a bard again. I'd say it's probably up there with some of my other favorite classes. Oddly enough, they are all charisma based, LOL. Now I've got to go explore some more bard subclass mods, LOL. Wow, I say LOL a lot. GG's BG3, you were no match for Dumpard. Well said, Dumpy from a couple weeks ago. Thank you all so much for watching. I will leave things at that, but make sure you like and subscribe if you want some more Baldur's Gate 3 action in the future. Thanks again, gang, and as I said, GG's.